Hallelujah and praise the Lord. Parliament is going to debate sacking Keir Starmer on the 6th of January 2025. It's just been announced.
Keir Starmer's tenure as Prime Minister is facing its most perilous moment yet. The high-profile petition demanding a snap general election has surged past 2.8 million signatures, forcing Parliament to schedule a debate on January 6th. Could this be the long-awaited step toward a much-needed election? Let's take a closer look at what these developments really mean for the UK.
There's been a petition. Now, under the UK parliamentary rules, if 100,000 people sign a petition, that petition has to be debated on the floor of the Commons. This is a petition that says you must call a general election, and it's got 2.5 million signatures. I don't think we've ever seen a government start so poorly, have we?
The debate is taking place under parliamentary rules triggered by petitions that surpass 100,000 signatures. These petitions are referred to the Backbench Business Committee, the group responsible for considering debates on issues of significant public interest. This process, established during John Bercow's tenure as Speaker, ensures that urgent concerns from the electorate can be aired in Parliament, a vital link between public sentiment and legislative debate. While the discussion may not immediately lead to Starmer's removal or a new election, it does provide a major opportunity to spotlight the growing anger at Labour's governance. MPs will engage in detailed discussions about public frustrations, including failed policies, broken promises, and Starmer's increasingly criticized leadership. As many commentators have noted, Starmer has had one of the worst starts to a premiership in UK history. To make matters worse, he has admitted to breaking some of his promises and has appeared unapologetic about it.
Here he is speaking to Beth Rigby of Sky News.
You said in that speech it's disrespectful for Sunak to say the economy turned the corner when taxes are higher. But isn't it also disrespectful when you promise people, for example, to raise income tax for the top 5% of earners, and then you ditch that when you get nearer to power? Now, there might be good reasons for that, but doesn't acknowledging that you have broken some of the promises you made go some way to fixing these trust issues that you have?
Well, I think it's
You've
really
just totally avoided that. Let
me take that head on, because there are a number of pledges I made when I was running for Labour leadership. Most of those are still in place. They're the building blocks of what we've now put in place.
Most of them are still in place. Most of them. Okay, maybe not all of them. Most of them. Complete and utter lies.
Starmer's government has been under relentless fire since its 2024 election win. Despite claims of a landslide, the victory was not as commanding as it appeared. Much of the result was driven by very low voter turnout, meaning large numbers of people did not vote at all. In fact, only about 1 in 5 people in the UK voted for Labour, making it a win that critics say lacks strong backing from the wider population. Since then, Starmer's administration has been dogged by controversy, ranging from the winter fuel payment crisis to a crackdown on free speech. These missteps have alienated key voting blocs, particularly in Northern England and among older voters who had briefly returned to Labour after supporting Boris Johnson in 2019. The 2.8 million strong petition has only intensified this dissatisfaction. Annunziata Rees-Mogg, the sister of Jacob Rees-Mogg, recently highlighted troubling data for the Labour Party. She compared a map showing where people signed the petition with a map of the country's most marginal seats, areas where the vote is closest, and where Labour must hold ground to remain in power. What she found was striking. There was a remarkable overlap between the two maps. The regions with the highest number of petition signatures closely matched the key marginal seats Labour needs to retain in the next election. This suggests that much of the discontent is concentrated in politically decisive areas, potentially carrying serious electoral consequences. Amid the growing backlash, Reform UK, led by Nigel Farage, is gaining momentum. Polling indicates the party could double its number of MPs in a general election, reflecting rising appetite for alternatives to the mainstream parties. Farage's direct approach and forceful speeches are resonating with voters who feel ignored by traditional politicians. Recently, he pointed to the party's surging support during a Reform UK press conference.
I am delighted that on Tuesday of this week we went through the 100,000 number. I've led previous political parties. I led UKIP for many years, and the peak we got to then was 46,000. You might have noticed that in by-elections, weekly by-elections that take place for district, borough or county councils, we've now become active, and last week in Kent, we won our first county council by-election, and we'll win another one between now and Christmas in a county not too far away from there. So we're taking that seriously.
Meanwhile, the Conservative Party is also beginning to recover slightly in the polls despite internal challenges. Tory MPs are seizing the moment, with Kemi Badenoch branding Starmer's remarks as nonsense and criticizing Labour's irresponsible actions. During a recent Prime Minister's question session, Badenoch did not hold back, calling out Starmer for what she described as neglectful leadership directly to his face. Here's a brief and fiery clip from their exchange.
At the CBI conference on Monday, the Chancellor said, and I quote, "I'm clear, I'm not coming back with more borrowing or more taxes. I know that telling the truth to this House is important to the Prime Minister. So will he repeat his Chancellor's pledge now?"
Mr. Speaker, we set out our position at the budget that was just set out. We're fixing the foundations. We're dealing with the £22 billion black hole that they left. I'm not going to write the next 5 years of budgets here at this dispatch box. But, Mr. Speaker, we said we wouldn't hit the pay slips of working people. We passed the budget, we invest in the future, and we kept that promise.
Mr. Speaker, he's not fixing any foundations, he's making everything worse. The whole House would have heard him refuse to repeat the Chancellor's pledge, a pledge as worthless as the manifesto promises that he's talking about. If he is fixing foundations, why is it that the PMI index shows that business confidence has crashed since the budget?
Mr. Speaker, we're fixing the foundation. We've got record investment into this country. 2 weeks ago, she stood there and said that she wanted all the investment, all the benefits of the budget, but she didn't know how she was going to pay for it. I noticed that, having come here criticising the national insurance rises over and over again, on Monday she admitted that she wouldn't reverse the position that we set out. Meanwhile, her science minister was saying he was going energetically to do the opposite. They really haven't got a clue what they're doing.
Mr. Speaker, if he wants to know what Conservatives would do, he should resign and find out. Until then, Mr. Speaker, I'm the one asking the questions. There's a petition out there, 2 million people asking him to go. Yeah. He's the one who doesn't know. He's the one who doesn't know how things work. It is not government that creates growth, Mr. Speaker. It is business.
Even traditional Labour strongholds have seen constituents flock to sign the petition, a clear sign of a deep and growing loss of trust. Starmer's attempt to dismiss the petition as merely a reflection of previous opposition voters has only fueled further criticism. His response on ITV's This Morning, where he described his government's decisions as tough but fair, came across as dismissive and further alienated those already frustrated by Labour's perceived failures.
I'm not surprised, quite frankly, that as we're doing the tough stuff, there are plenty of people who say, well, I'm impacted, I don't like it. But we've got to make the sort of big calls on the NHS and on schools that are really important for the here and now and for the future. So, in a sense, if we were in the business of giving away money and not impacting anyone, and our ratings dropped, I'd be worried. But we're doing the tough stuff at the moment.
Starmer's response only reinforced claims that his government is out of touch with real public concerns. The petition gained momentum after endorsements from high-profile figures like Elon Musk and Michael Caine. But its origins were far more humble. Pub owner Michael Westwood launched the campaign, accusing Labour of betraying its promises and failing to deliver meaningful change. Speaking on live television, he declared,
On live TV, he spoke.
Why should we sit back and take it? Why should we sit back and be lied to? So, see how we can change it, basically. You've got to be realistic, it's not going to happen. What man would sit there and debate his own job? I know I wouldn't like to do it myself. But at the same time, if you've lied to get into power, why shouldn't you be held responsible? Why shouldn't you be able to account?
What began as a simple protest has now transformed into a seismic political statement. Millions of disillusioned citizens are demanding change, and the pressure is mounting. The upcoming January debate could prove to be a turning point for Starmer. With public anger boiling over and opposition forces gaining ground, the Prime Minister's position appears increasingly fragile. Calls for a new election are growing louder, leaving Starmer's political future hanging by a thread. This debate is no longer just about a petition. It reflects broader dissatisfaction with the political status quo. Whether it leads to real change or merely serves as a wake-up call for Labour, it clearly demonstrates the power of public pressure in holding governments accountable. With the Conservatives regrouping, Reform UK rising, and Starmer's government under siege, Off-Script is entering a period of heightened uncertainty and potential transformation. The question now is not if change is coming, but when. In the meantime, Keir Starmer continues to make controversial decisions. The British Prime Minister appears to be aligning more closely with Chinese President Xi Jinping than with the newly elected U.S. President Donald Trump. At the G20 summit in Rio, Starmer met with Xi and called for stable, respectful, and predictable relations, aiming to boost trade and economic growth. However, this move stands in sharp contrast to Washington's direction. The United States, under Trump, is preparing to reignite a trade confrontation with China. Trump's incoming administration, stacked with China hawks such as Marco Rubio, is gearing up for disputes over Taiwan and human rights. While Washington signals confrontation, Starmer is choosing dialogue, a noticeably softer approach. Critics argue this risks making Britain appear weak, particularly given that China is officially labeled the UK's biggest security threat. Some observers say Starmer's strategy echoes Richard Nixon's historic 1972 visit to Beijing, which reshaped U.S.-China relations during the Cold War. But while Nixon played a powerful geopolitical hand, Starmer's position appears more economically driven, focused on growth and international partnerships rather than strategic leverage. For Xi Jinping, the moment could be advantageous. Facing economic headwinds and a damaged global image, he has launched a charm offensive, engaging leaders such as Starmer, Emmanuel Macron, and Australia's Anthony Albanese. If Trump's more isolationist posture alienates allies, Beijing could move to fill the gap, and Xi is well aware of the opportunity. Starmer's gamble rests on prioritizing trade and cooperation on global challenges like climate change. Yet the strategy could backfire, especially given the UK's history of cyber threats and espionage concerns linked to Beijing. At the same time, Trump's hardline stance risks pushing some American allies closer to China, potentially giving Beijing an unexpected strategic edge. Depending on what happens next, Starmer's decision may be judged either as calculated pragmatism or a serious misstep. What do you think will come of this move? Share your thoughts below, and give this video a like if you found it informative. If you want to stay updated on the issues shaping the UK, this channel is the place for you. In every video, we tackle the most important debates affecting the country's future. Be sure to subscribe and stay up to date by hitting the notification bell. See you in the next one.